You are heartily welcome to the Abode of Peace. Now we are discussing on the atheism and the illusion of the atheism. As you know, for an atheist, or according to the perspective of an atheist, we the Muslims and the believers are irrational, and we are not thinking upon anything. We are living according to the footsteps and the folktales of the forefathers. We are not acting like the intellectuals do. And the main claim of an atheist is that he could only believe in what he could see, and he is not following the footsteps of his predecessors. Actually, as you know, when we are thinking on their views, we could disagree, and we could tell that the view is something sounds rubbish or dross. I am not actually criticizing them, but it is the truth. From certain examples, we could prove that. Consider an atheist who is driving by a car, and if his GPS is activated, as you know, the instructions given to him: go straight, go left, and go right. And there is something hidden in the path, there is something trodden in the path, but he is believing that even though GPS, he couldn't see the person who is giving him the directions, maybe a female or a male. Anyway, he is believing in that instructions. Do you know why? Because it is something from the reliable source. When something reliable source or the information is often, when we are hearing or perceiving something like that, we are acting according to that, because the human mind is inclining to the reliable source. The power of thinking and to act upon this is the peculiarity of the human being. This is what depicted in the Quran. This is what described in the Quran. God Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, Allama al-Quran, He has taught the Quran. Khalaq al-Insan, He has created the human beings. Allamahul Bayan, and He has taught the power of understanding. The power which we are talking about. As you know, when the cattle is hearing the GPS or the instructions from the GPS, he cannot react, or it cannot react. And what is the reason? Because the cattle is not thinking as the human beings. This is what the person who is not thinking, he is being, God Almighty says, the similitude of a person who is not thinking is that of a cattle. Ulaika kal anham, bal hum adall, ulaika humul ghafilun. And they are that of a cattle. We have the lesson from the cattle. Sometimes the people, atheist, is behaving or acting like that. He is not thinking according to the truth. As you know, the cattle, when we are taking the vehicle, the reactions from it will be different. When a human being is standing in front of the vehicle, he would react, even though the birds fly off or the animals run away, but the cattle, it won't. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how accurate the example, the parable it is. And the human being have the power of the thinking and the power of understanding to act according to the reliable source. This is what we are talking about. And what is the source available now to live our life meaningful? Yes, that is the revelation, the Quran. The revelation and the reason, which won't go against each other, because both are from the gift of God Almighty. That's why the classical scholars who had said that وَهُوَ مُوَافِقٌ لِفِطْرَةِ الْخَلَائِقِ, the revelation which won't go against our conscience, and the conscience which won't go against the social order or the life of human beings, and it won't go against the immorality. No, it won't go against the morality, because the source is from the God Almighty. When we are thinking, we could see evidences, the ample evidences in front of us. Do you know how it is? Actually, the evidence can be divided into two. Al-ayatul shar'iyya wa ayatul kawniyya. Ayatul shar'iyya, that is the revelation in the Quran. the verses of the Quran. It is it's the evidence to know our Creator. The Ayatul Kawniyya, the universe. As we know, the unique eloquence of the Quran, the unique literary form used in the Quran, the bundle of rhetoric devices, the historical facts, the scientific miracles, the mathematical frequencies, all these can be given in the Quran, which won't go against our existing values, existing mathematical values, existing historical records. It won't go against the eloquence. This is the state of the Quran. And what about the Ayatul Kawniyya, the universe, as we know, the precision, the extraordinary precision in the universe, the aesthetic appearance, the Fibonacci numbers, everything in the perfect order, something like that. And these two ayat, these two evidences, how can we say it is a part of Musadafa without? How can we say there is not something behind this ayat, these evidences? This is why the David Hume, he did say that even though he was not a believer in Islam, but he say that if we say all these are from everything or something in which we are seeing it from anything, and all these things are self-evolved, it is absurd statement. Even though he was a philosopher, he didn't believe in the Creator as the Muslims do or as the believers do, but he could only say like that. It's something absurd. That the Arthur Creed, the famous evolutionist, he did say once that if we don't believe in evolution, we are forced to believe in the concept of God, which we can't. That's why we really believing in the evolution. And the Ayatul Shara'iyya, the Quranic legislations, as you know, the linguistic discourse analysis. When we are studying about the field of this linguistic theory, the famous anthropologist and the linguistic preacher and teacher A.J. Albury, who also told, even though he didn't believe in the Quran, he said that I cannot believe how all these things are conveyed in the Quran. As I have mentioned before, all these miracles could be seen in the Quran. How can a man could write this? Even we can see something, the influence of Shakespeare in his works. Shelley, the life of Shelley, he's been reflected in his works, in his poems or his novels, but we can't see it in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's lives, influences of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's writing in the Quran. Instead, we could see the instructions given to Prophet Muhammad. It's sometimes he has been corrected. He's being corrected by the God Almighty. So we can't say everything it is coincidence. We can't say everything is forked. Think, reflect, ponder upon the verses, ponder upon the universes. How all this could be as a part of a Musadafa, the coincidence. No, an atheist is not thinking. We have the power of understanding to distinguish between the truth and falsehood. And I was astonished, I was wondered when I had a study about the veracity or the truthfulness of the formation of a baby. As you know, when the baby is formed in the darkness of the womb of a mother, when the formation of the baby, the legs are formed, the ears are formed, the eyes are formed, but the baby doesn't know there is a world outside the womb of the mother. There is a hereafter outside the womb of the mother, in the world outside, but still the eyes are formed to see the mother who is present in the outside. The legs are formed to crawl around the floor which is present in the outside. The legs and the fingertips are formed in the womb inside, but the baby doesn't know there is a mother to hold its fingertips. It is totally in the outside world, in the hereafter, according to the baby. How all this could be a part of al-Musadaf, a coincidence. This is why I had said before in my primary talk that the statement for an atheist, he believes in what he sees, it is actually a dross, rubbish. May God Almighty guide him. and guide all the people who doesn't know the value of Islam.